How's it going, everybody? It's Warren and welcome back to my channel, The Cosmic Wonder, where we talk about all things Marvel and everything relating to the MCU. And today we have so much to talk about because the Fantastic Four are making their way to the MCU, and it sounds like, according to recent reports, they're going to be coming sooner than we thought they would be coming. Now, we knew eventually they would show up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe after Disney acquired the rights to the Fox X-Men characters, including the Fantastic Four and including Galactus. So some very big characters are on their way to the MCU, and it looks like we've discovered who our next Thanos is, our next big bad of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we'll break down everything that you need to know, including when we can expect the Fantastic Four in this video. If you're new and you love Marvel, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest MCU news. And so you can enter this week's giveaway for a chance to win a Doctor Strange Funko Pop. Just subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment down below to enter. Galactus is the villain that we've been waiting for, the planet-eating cosmic entity that very few have been able to take down in the comics. Now, one of those teams, of course, and the team that is most widely associated with Galactus is the Fantastic Four. And yesterday we heard the news that Marvel Studios has filed the paperwork for the Fantastic Four. It has been discovered that Disney has recently registered the names of two new production companies, one of those being for the Fantastic Four. Now, the Fantastic Four were announced in 2019 San Diego Comic-Con by Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios himself, so we knew that they were going to be coming eventually. And not to mention that Marvel Studios has also filed paperwork for every project they've announced at 2019 San Diego Comic-Con besides the Fantastic Four and Blade. But now reports say that they have filed this for the Fantastic Four, meaning they're on their way, which means that Galactus is on his way. And this is the villain that everybody has been hoping for and looking forward to. Let's face it, there's really only one way to outdo the Infinity Saga, to outdo Thanos, and to outdo Avengers Endgame. You need a bigger villain and you need a bigger story plot that's going to eventually bring all of these new different teams, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, together at the end of this new saga in a way that Endgame couldn't do it. So, how do you beat Thanos and how do you beat Avengers Endgame? Well, you do it with Galactus and you do it with Avengers Secret Wars. Now, there have been several reports in the past from several insiders stating that Galactus is coming and he is going to be the next big bad of the MCU. But now the Fantastic Four are on the production grid, and that's the first step in getting Galactus into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And there's a few other steps that have to happen before Galactus makes his huge Marvel Cinematic Universe debut. The first step, like I said, is the Fantastic Four, and Marvel already took that step in 2019 when they announced the Fantastic Four coming to the MCU. They went even further this week by registering the production company for the Fantastic Four. So what happens next is the actual appearance of the Fantastic Four and the tease of Galactus. Now, if you think back to the Infinity Saga and you think about how Marvel teased Thanos in the beginning before he became the ultimate big bad, they did it rather well. At the very end of Phase 1, in the post-credit scene of the Avengers, they teased Thanos. They didn't tell you anything about him, but of course us fans knew who he was. And they set him up as a looming presence. He was a threat, but it wasn't that immediate. The other immediate threats were people such as Ultron, Loki, Hydra, etc. But then we slowly started to find out that Thanos was behind several different things and was starting to collect the Infinity Stones. He made a pretty big appearance in the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then we saw him once again in the post-credit scene of Avengers Age of Ultron, and that is when they officially revealed the Infinity Gauntlet and what his plans were. The same will happen for Galactus, and the first teaser that we'll probably get for him will be in a post-credit scene of the Fantastic Four. There are plenty of villains for the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and the Avengers to fight before Galactus shows up, so just like the Avengers fought Loki and Ultron, we're going to be getting villains like Kang and Annihilus before Galactus shows up. And they also have to set the new teams up before he shows up as well, because remember, Galactus is the big bad, not the one-off villain that the Avengers or the X-Men take care of in one movie. He's going to be the villain that it might even take 3 movies for the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four to defeat. But he will be the villain who brings all of these teams together. So the Fantastic Four enter the MCU, teasing Galactus, and then the X-Men enter as well. Now, of course, the X-Men will have their own threats, but we'll definitely get another teaser for Galactus at some point. And they'll also establish some key characters that play a role in defeating Galactus, such as the child of Reed Richards and Sue Storm, Franklin Richards, the son of Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman, an Omega-level mutant, one of the strongest mutants and one of the strongest characters in Marvel history. And all of the teams are definitely going to need him. At one point in time in the comics, he raises Galactus from the dead and uses him basically as a puppet to defeat some cosmic entities. Now, of course, he probably won't be this strong in the MCU, but the teams will need him nonetheless. Now, one of the first teasers for Galactus is most likely going to be the Silver Surfer, another character associated widely with the Fantastic Four and super anticipated to make his MCU debut. The Silver Surfer is undoubtedly the most popular herald of Galactus. For those of you who are unaware, Galactus is a cosmic entity who needs to consume planets to sustain his life force. So he literally consumes planets, and he creates heralds who he grants part of his power to, and they seek out planets for Galactus to consume. The Silver Surfer, as a herald of Galactus, would end up going to Earth. However, the Silver Surfer would end up betraying Galactus, and with the help of the Fantastic Four, they drove Galactus away. However, Galactus would return to Earth many different times, and this is most likely something that we will see happen in the MCU. We will see a herald of Galactus appear, and that will be the first threat that the teams are going to have to take care of. And once they take care of the herald, they will learn about the future threat of Galactus coming to Earth. And this is going to be what brings all of our teams together: the Avengers, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four. But not only the teams from our main universe. We know that the multiverse is going to play a really big part in the future phases of the MCU. And we know that they're going to be in a little bit of chaos, and we know that because of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So Galactus coming and the fact that the multiverse is going to exist and be in madness leads us to believe that the future and final event of this next saga is going to be Secret Wars Battle World, an event where you see multiple different versions of characters from different realities all come together and fight together. And this would be another way to top the events of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Not only will you have multiple teams coming together to fight Galactus, but you'll have multiple versions of different characters from different realities. We'll have multiple Thors, multiple Star-Lords, multiple versions of the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, Wolverine, all coming together to stop Galactus. Now, there's much more to Secret Wars in the comics, but we don't know how it's going to play out in the MCU. But we do know that Galactus is coming, and he's coming sooner than we thought. Right now, if we follow the pattern that Marvel Studios has done in the past, we can expect the Fantastic Four to begin production at Marvel Studios somewhere between August 2021 and February 2022. And Marvel Studios usually starts projects 12 to 15 months before they're expected to hit theaters. And it just so happens that Marvel Studios has 2 film dates reserved for untitled movies right now. One October 7th of 2022 and one February 17th of 2023. So if we base the new Fantastic Four production on what Marvel Studios has done in the past, the October and February date could be when we see the Fantastic Four make their official MCU debut, setting the groundwork for the next MCU's big bad Galactus. So what do you think about the Fantastic Four making their way to the MCU pretty soon, and what do you think about Galactus being the next big bad? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and let me know what you hope to see from him. And I know a lot of us don't want to see a giant cloud again. Be sure to like the video and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest MCU news. For live updates, you can follow me on Twitter, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.